So to start with, I'm going to be showing you how to sow onions. So all I've done to prepare for this is my granddad's brought up some onions for me. These are exhibition onions, so these will be nice and big onions. And to prepare, all I've done is pull the gardener's line down, just to outline where I'm going to be sowing these onions. And all you want to do is dig a hole about 3 inches wide, about trowel depth deep. And then once you've got your hole, give it a good soak. This has been a bit dry for the past couple of weeks. And once this is soaking in, what you want to do with these is you want to stagger them so that they can still be they want to be a good foot apart at least, all the way along. And I'm just for ease, I'm going to stagger them each side of the line so they're still in a straight line. Now that's soaked in, what you want to do is take your onion tray, take your plant you want to put in, use a dibbing tool as I've done in previous shots, gently take it out, gently maneuver it out from the others, put it in the middle of the hole, and then gently scatter soil all around the sides of the onion. Make sure that it is upright. That'll perk it. And it doesn't matter if it does flop over, because since we've watered them, they'll perk up in the next couple of days. Right, that's the first one done. I'm now going to time lapse through the rest. So next I'm going to be doing tomatoes. This is quite simple, as all you've got to do is dig a hole big enough to fit this size pot into it. If you're digging outdoors or indoors, just give them a soak beforehand, if they're in pots and the ground as well. And just make sure that it is wet. And then, as I said, we've got to dig a hole big enough to fit this in. So let's get going. I'll move this out of the way. That was just to show you, I've just put that there just to show you the size that I generally put them in at. So what you want to do, as I said, dig a hole wide enough and big enough to fit the pots that you've put them in. And all I've done with positioning is I'm doing strainer wires, or I'm doing strings down, but they're on the ceiling, you can't see them. And I've positioned them, put the strings in about a month ago, and I've positioned these directly underneath the strings. And, excuse me, and then I'm going to dig out all the holes and just put them in as I go along. And about a month ago, I've filled this ground full of manure, so hopefully they'll enjoy this. Yeah, that'll do. And then I've soaked these, just so that these will stick together, hopefully, when I do this. What you want to do to take them out is, this is slightly harder, is make sure you do like a spot fingers, I think is the best way to put it, and just grip the tomato around the base, so it's just so you keep it straight. Then flip it over, kind of similar to, just make sure it doesn't hit the ground, kind of similar to doing a sandcastle. Squeeze around here, around and around, and then tap, and then that's off. Chuck that to one side, turn it back over, put it into the hole, and then soil around the base and make sure that the stuff around the base, make sure it's upright, and then just dress it off. I'm going to keep these sticks in for a bit. Get a cloth. Yeah, I'm going to keep these in just just until they're a bit taller, and then I'll drop a string wire down. Oh, that's a string. It's drop a string down to them, just so then they can start to train up them. But I don't want to do that too early, just so then it doesn't cause lumps in here. Right, I'm going to time lapse through the rest. I may do this in multiple shots because I've got to do from here all the way along the greenhouse, which you can't see. Yeah, I'm going to get on with that. I know that's the tomato time lapse done. I just thought I'd explain that these are cherry tomatoes. That's why I'm doing them now. The beefsteaks you've seen me plant, they're not ready to go in yet. So these are the cherry tomatoes in comparison to the beefsteaks, which will be a lot bigger. And now on with the video. So I thought I'd just do a quick update on everything. First positive, the runner and French beans have come up. These have come up within the last 3 or 4 days. Almost all of them have come up, which is a really big positive. The courgettes I'm going to have to separate from the melons because they grow that large. Excuse me. They're growing that large that they're swamping the melons. The Marmandi tomatoes, these are doing lovely. These are starting to develop really nicely. I'll have to start either training them up at canes or putting them just here within the next week or so. The outdoor cucumbers, these I still have to build their frame for, but that'll be done in the next 2-3 days, so that'll either be next video or one of the future videos. I'll show you those. The courgettes, they're growing massive, so these will be in soon. The cucumbers are just starting to develop their leaves, their pointed leaves, which is a good sign. And if I turn around here, these tomatoes, since I've put them in the ground, have gone bonkers. So these, I'll still keep training up the sticks, and then these will be ready to come out the sticks when they get to the top, and then I'll put strings on them. And also a feature, just a quick sneak peek, these I'm going to be planting today, and because that's ready. So what I tend to do with these is just do multiple crops. I'll explain about that in a bit. Finally, I thought I'd show you how the outside is going. Now I've done the inside. So to start with, whilst I'm here, I thought I'd show you my lettuces. These are growing alright. They're just starting to form their heads. And right down the end, right down there, they're the radishes. They're starting to grow now, finally. Really good news. All my potatoes are coming up. Apart from these two have only just started coming up. And then, thankfully, all my broad beans are starting to flower. So next I thought I'd show you my fruit trees. Now this is my pear tree. This has already been in blossom. And as you can see by these, they're already set. There's loads set. Usually we don't get many that are set, which is a good sign, which means we're going to get lots of pears this year. And then we've got these 2 apple trees. These are quite interesting because, as you can see, we still have blossom, yet some are set and some are still to come, which means that these will come as apples first, then these will set and then produce apples, and then these will. So we're going to have a much more staggered harvest. You can probably actually see better on this one. So this is our second apple tree. So as I said, these are still in blossom, these are yet to blossom, and yet these are already set. And for our more keen-eyed viewers, you would have noticed there was a few plants missing. That's because we've moved them now into the shed. It's only these lot, because these were sitting where the tomatoes are, so we needed somewhere to put them. So to start with, this is the cress. This is actually growing really nicely. This will be ready at least by midweek. These are the rest of the courgettes. These will be going in next 2-3 weeks. The thyme has grown prolifically since I split it up. We bought 1 pot of thyme and we split it into 6, and it's growing really nicely. These are the coriander, the parsley and the dill. corianders and the dill is coming up because they're a little restricted, even though we do have this massive window. But so these will sprout up a little bit, but that's fine. The parsley is growing prolifically as well. And as I said, the dill are shooting up, and the little chickpeas growing alright as well. To end horticultural hails this week, I'm going to be doing 2 more time lapses, one of them being these lettuces. The reason that I'm planting more lettuces is that the ones that are in the cloches, they're pretty much grown. These have grown prolifically as well. And by staggering them, we just extend the growing season a little bit more, so that by the time we've eaten those, these are ready and we can pull these up straight away. So I'm going to get on with this one, and then we've got one more to go. So that's the lettuces done now. As you can probably see, I have scattered eggshell around them. This is just a more natural form of slug deterrent, because slugs and snails don't, for some reason, like walking over sharp things, or slightly sharp things. So if you scrunch eggshell around them, they won't actually attack the plant, and they biodegrade, so it's better for the environment. And now for the final time lapse. For the final time lapse of the day, as you can probably tell by the drill, I'm going to be doing radishes. The reason being is exactly the same reason as the lettuces. It's so that we can carry on from this small lot we've got onto a slightly larger lot along by the broad beans. Now the reason I've suddenly put stuff in between is because I realised after I planted the broad beans I put them too far apart. So I've just put some stuff in between. Hopefully these will grow. And so I'm just going to time lapse me doing these. Thank you so much for joining me on this week of Horticultural Hails. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it, and please, as always, subscribe. And join me next week for another episode of Horticultural Hails.